Hi, folks. Over the years, we've built lots and lots of integrations with third-party systems, platforms, back offices, etc. One of the most popular is XPlan. So we wanted to put a video together to explain how this works, how to set it up, and what data is actually getting pushed to our side. Those of you that have been using analytics for some time will know that one of the most laborious parts of the system is to build yourself a portfolio. Having to find funds, using ISIN codes, CEDAL codes, fund names, adding in the weightings, the holdings, etc., and just gradually building a portfolio to then create some really cool charts and analysis off the back of it. Now, these integrations completely do away with that work for you, and it will take a second because that data invariably lives in these third-party systems like XPlan. XPlan already know what funds your client holds, what percentages, what unit holdings, etc. So we're just simply passing that data across for you. Within a split second, it creates the portfolio, and over the course of a year, you can save yourself an enormous amount of time. You might be saving yourself a few minutes per client, times that by 150 clients. You start kind of going into hours and hours of time saved. So how this works, with the XPlan integration, you've got to contact XPlan just to set up the bridge between the two systems initially. And once they've done that, it shouldn't take them too long. You'll then be able to pass data seamlessly into your analytics account. So how that works is when you're in XPlan, you'll have your clients in here already. So this is a dummy client I've got saved on XPlan side. So if you click on the little downward arrow tab next to them, you'll get open integrations at the bottom. Analytics will show. Click on the tab. It will then show you the portfolios you've got in XPlan under this client. Now, this client's got two. He's got an ISA and a GIA. Nice little touch. You don't have to do one by one. If you've got 10 portfolios, two portfolios, however many, you can just click on that tick box at the top and it just automatically selects all of them. And I can en masse bring everything across into analytics, or just maybe bring across the GIA. All we need from our side is to know what email to reconcile where the data flows into. We just need to know the email of the account you're sending it to. So pop the same analytics email address you're using in there that you use to log into analytics, and then just hit the export button. And it will then just send that portfolio data directly into analytics. It will take a matter of seconds. It will say portfolio successfully exported. Log into analytics to review the portfolio. And what that means is when you then dip into analytics, I'll save ourselves a couple of seconds. I've done this already. You'll see within analytics under that portfolio tab, Joseph Brown now lives under there, that portfolio. Incidentally, if I then did this 6 months later, it will automatically overwrite the one I've got in here, which is great for the most part. That's probably what I want it to do. But just bear that in mind, because if you want to keep the original for whatever reason, you've just got to go in there and change its name. And then when you bring it across in 6 months' time, you'll then essentially have another version of it. So you could kind of put a date after it, etc. If I just open it up, if I just click on edit, we'll just have a look at what it's actually done. So the portfolio loads up, and as you can see, it's just simply pulled across 4 funds, and it's told us what the unit holdings are of each one. And what that means is we can work out the GBP value of each one, but more importantly, in terms of charting and performance, we can work out what the percentages are between each one as well. Little tip, if I wanted to layer in a few charges, because when I go and create stuff like reports and performance graphs, it's going to take into account all the fund charges. That's great. But it doesn't know that I'm taking a fee and my platform's taking a fee. So under that little settings tab at the very top here, you can just pop it in there under additional charge. Okay, my fee plus platform is 0.75. And if I click on OK and then save it, it now means that all the performance when it generates is going to be that bit more accurate because it's taken into account those additional charges. What then can I do with that data? Now it lives in analytics. A couple of neat things you can do very quickly. That portfolio has its own fact sheet. So once you've added it into the active list, just click on that. This is called a medium scan. And what that does is it just looks at your holdings, crushes it all together into one nice report showing you the ratings, the charges, the ESG scores, the asset allocation of that overall portfolio against a benchmark of your choice. You can change the benchmark to whatever you like on these reports. And again, if I might want to PDF that and send that across to the client, I might want something a little bit more detailed than this. This is quite useful for internal purposes for myself. I don't know much about this portfolio, so I just want a nice little report that shows me everything I need to know about it. However, if I then wanted to send it to the client, what I could use is under this report tab on the right hand side, there's a little feature called Custom Portfolio Report Builder that allows me to design my own reports. They're a bit more client facing. And I'll just load one up here. Joseph Brown annual review, my logo on every page, and it goes into a lot more detail about the performance of the portfolio versus that benchmark I've chosen. Again, all the underlying holdings as a bar chart. There's the different ratings, there's the ESG scores of each fund, there's the scatter chart. And again, this comes in this order because I've asked for it to be in this order. This is the asset allocation. There's the diversification pulled through, so it shows me how diversified the portfolio is. And then finally, again, because I want them, I've asked it to suck out all of the fact sheets and the kids documents of each one of those funds. And then the glossary at the very end. Yeah, I can use the data that I've just pulled across from XPlan to create a lot more simpler things than that. I don't have to go straight into reporting. I might just want to use that data to quickly flip it into a little chart. So on the left-hand side, again, performance line chart over 5 years, and click on generate. And there we go, just show me a 5-year performance of those aggregated holdings. I can crack that open if I want to show all 4 holdings individually rather than one line. You can do that just by hitting that second tick box. And finally, what I might be looking to do here is compare what he has now versus what I'm proposing. Now, what I'm proposing could be anything I like. It could be a collection of my own funds that I've built, maybe a model portfolio of mine, maybe a multi-asset fund, maybe a model portfolio proposition. So on the left-hand side, we've pretty much got every single model portfolio provider now. Worth noting on the system, there's about 70 of them. So if I want to start comparing my portfolios versus the Copia models, the Elster models, the EBI models, the Bruin models, etc., they're all on here, ready and waiting for you to analyze. I'm going to quickly do that. We've got our own model portfolios that I've plugged into the system already. So I'm just going to quickly compare that against one of FE's models for medium. I want to change the color of that. Let's just change that to slightly darker shade of green. And on the right hand side, I want to move away from simple line charts. I want to do something a bit more sophisticated. I want the system to recognize now that there's been a withdrawal. I'm looking at this as a drawdown strategy. So I'm saying, look, over the last 5 years, I want the system to draw me a chart that takes into account withdrawal, starts at 500,000 because that's what they're looking to invest. And then we're going to be taking £1,000 a month income thereafter. And I'm going to run that chart against the 2 solutions and start using the system as a way to convince the client why I'm proposing my model portfolio proposition versus what they currently have. And there we go. It shows my proposed solution over that period of time. It would have given the client £1,000 a month income, stripped that away, and the underlying capital still been growing, gone from 500,000 up to 568 at the bottom there. Whereas their current solution, yes, it would have given them £1,000 a month income, but it's slowly eroding that underlying capital. If I then wanted to maybe turn them into reports, there's a nice little report over here that does very similar to that, but just kind of beefs it up with extra analysis under portfolio comparison. This one, you just basically select a portfolio versus another. So the same as before, my kind of ESG responsibly managed portfolio on Transact with FE versus what they currently have. And if you click on generate, it turns that into a nice little report, just putting the 2 solutions side by side and saying, again, this is the proposed solution, whatever that is. Again, that can be whatever you like, versus what the client currently has, comparing the holdings, the charges, the underlying performance, net of the charges, the additional ones as well that we put in. There's a difference in the volatility that kind of segues back to the risk profile. And there's the asset allocation, sector split, regional split between those 2 solutions. Talking of the risk profile, nothing to stop you taking that data that we've just pulled across from XPlan and throw that directly into our risk profiler. And the final report will look a bit like this. Once you've got the client to fill in the ATRQ, which is all automated, they do that themselves. Then you select what investment solution you want them to invest into, if it's anything over and above what they currently use. And it creates a final report for you, a bit similar to this. This is 13 pages long, your logo on every page. It says, look, there's the ATRQ the client filled out. They came out as a 3 medium. There's a bit for them to sign it and date it. There's a little glossary just explaining how it's compliant to the FCA guidelines. There's what it means to be a 3 out of 5. So how much risk you're taking on board. And an incredibly important page. This is basically the solutions themselves. And you're saying, look, that existing portfolio that I've just sucked out of XPlan into analytics, it's reviewed it and it's telling you the system's a 1 out of 5. Well, you've just signed off that you're a 3 out of 5, Mr. and Mrs. Client, which is why we're recommending this LifeStrat 60% fund, because it sits neatly at a 3 out of 5, or an MPS model portfolio, or a basket of multi-asset funds. Again, the proposed portfolio can be whatever you want it to be. And then some further analysis just to show the performance, the volatility, the asset allocation differences between those solutions, and the reasons why you're proposing to sell out of all of these funds and just simply invest into that Vanguard solution. And because I wanted it, I get the Vanguard fact sheet at the end for the proposed KID document as well, and then a little signature form at the very end. Finally, you can also spin that data into a yield calculator, a charge calculator. So particularly useful if I'm doing a pension switch, I want to convince the client to move across to my proposed strategy because it's that much cheaper, again, whatever that proposed strategy is. And I want to create a nice little charge comparison sheet to show them exactly how this is going to play out if these solutions grow at the same amount. So there's my existing portfolio that I've just sucked out of XPlan running at 4%. Over on the right-hand side, this is my proposed strategy with the FEI model growing again at 4%. Again, if this plays out over the coming 20, 25 years, however many years you want to project over, it simply says if you take into account all those charges you're paying, your solution, Mr. or Mrs. Client, will go from 300 to 533. Ours will go to 546. And the reason it's that bit better is because the charges you're paying are just slightly cheaper with us. Your current solution is costing you this much: advisor fee, platform fee, fund charges. We're going to shave off a bit with the fund charge and the platform fee, and overall you're going to be paying that bit less every year that compounds to this difference up over 25 years. So that's ultimately how the integration works. As I said, once XPlan set up that bridge for you, then you can very quickly just push data across into analytics, and you can then start spinning up and creating all these different bits of content, whether that's a very simple chart or a more complicated report. Now, there is also a subsequent integration into CashCalc, our cash flow tool. It's probably over and above what we wanted to show on this video. We just wanted to focus on that one integration, but we'll create more content around how this data kind of flows through these three systems. Analytics and CashCalc will be integrated very soon. So ultimately, if you're using a back office system like XPlan, then it means that you can send that data from XPlan to CashCalc to analytics, XPlan to analytics, CashCalc to analytics, etc. We like to think that becomes a bit of an ecosystem where you're using systems that connect very easily and quickly and efficiently beside one another. As ever, I hope you found that useful. If you need any further information about the integration, clearly contact XPlan to set it up. That bit sits their side. Any questions for us, though, click on that little contact us button in the bottom left-hand corner and talk to our help desk. Thanks for watching.